Today we read Philippians chapter 4 verses 4 to 9, and the church remembers Monica, the mother of Augustine. Monica lived in the 4th century, and she is remembered as the mother of Augustine. This may sound disrespectful, not to remember her simply as herself, but her claim to fame really is that through her prayers and persistence, her son, her wayward son, came to faith. She's a model of maternal spirituality, a mother who grieved that her son rejected the faith she had brought him up in. Plenty of mothers can identify with that grief and that sadness and perhaps sense of failure. Monica's husband was not a Christian, and she was widowed at aged 40. Monica felt pretty desperate, and at one stage was so incensed by Augustine's bad behaviour that she banned him from the house. Augustine eventually left home in the middle of the night in order to avoid his mother. Monica received some wise advice about this problem from priests, including Bishop Ambrose of Milan. And instead of nagging her son about his lifestyle, she simply prayed constantly for him. Her prayers bore fruit, and Augustine experienced a conversion, a commitment to faith, and was baptised. Soon after this, Monica died, aged just 55. The rest, as they say, is history. Augustine was an extraordinary intellect and became one of the most influential Christian theologians in the Christian church. His contribution to theology is invaluable. When he told his mother that he'd committed his life to Christ, she leapt for joy, and she blessed God, who is able to do far more abundantly than all we ask or think. Her grief was turned to gladness. Augustine said of his mother, "She never let me out of her prayers, that you, O God, might say to the widow's son, 'Young man, I tell you, arise.'" A quotation from the raising of the widow of Nain's son. Augustine's conversion was a passing from death to life, from the darkness of not knowing God into the beauty and light of his presence. So, mothers and fathers, come to that, take heart from the advice in Philippians. Do not worry, but by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And this is followed by words which we associate with a blessing at the end of worship. The result of following this advice, the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will keep your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus.